In the 21st century, humanity thought it understood Earth, until the day the ocean's surface began to tremble. The first silent tremors shook not only the ground, but also humanity's sense of safety. In seismology labs around the world, abnormal red lines started rewriting the heartbeat of the planet. Within minutes, the phrase "unprecedented phenomenon" flooded every news broadcast. From New York to Tokyo, people froze in the streets, looking up at the sky and wondering, what is happening? In the vast Pacific, the sea swelled like a colossal creature preparing to rise. Earth opened its mouth, revealing the first veins of rock from a land never seen on any map. Within hours, a new continent emerged from the ocean's depths. They gave it a name both beautiful and terrifying: Solara. For the first time in modern history, humanity had to relearn the shape of the planet it thought it knew. In New York, Geneva, Beijing, the most powerful rooms on Earth lit up instantly. On the screens, Solara rotated slowly like a gigantic question no one had an answer for. World leaders appeared on television, their voices calm, but their eyes unable to hide their fear. On social media, terror and excitement mixed, turning Solara into the biggest information storm in history. As night fell, cities couldn't sleep. For the first time, people felt tomorrow could be entirely different. While experts still argued, fleets had already left port, heading straight for the new land. From above, Solara appeared raw and violent, a continent still bearing the wounds of the ocean. It didn't take long before the first flag was planted into Solara's cold, damp rock. In that instant, history replayed a familiar scene. Humanity once again stepped onto a new world. But unlike before, this time the entire planet was watching. On the wind-lashed shores, the first outposts rose, fragile yet full of ambition. Inside research tents, each Solara rock sample was dissected carefully like a fragment of an ancient riddle. Very quickly, people realized that beneath Solara lay resources unlike anything found on Earth. Survey convoys started moving inland, leaving behind the first tire tracks on a pristine world. Under a brooding sky, Solara took its first breaths, wild and unpredictable. At the same time, behind closed doors, people redrew the entire global power map around a single name: Solara. At the United Nations, a seemingly simple question turned dangerous: who owns this continent? Every sovereignty declaration rang like a warning bell of conflicts to come. While humans argued, nature stayed silent, but it did not stand still. With Solara's arrival, ancient ocean currents were forced to find new paths. Familiar storms suddenly became strange, stronger, harder to predict. The tracks of tropical cyclones shifted, sweeping across regions once thought to be safe. Climate scientists understood that this was not just a continent, it was a priority reboot of the entire climate system. Inside Solara, life itself was rewriting the rules. Forests, unlike any ecosystem on the planet, quietly spread their roots. Every leaf, every thorn, every spore might be an introduction to an entirely new biological world. Along with opportunity, Solara carried an invisible threat: pathogens unseen in all of medical history. Under the microscope, Solara's organisms looked breathtakingly beautiful and chillingly dangerous. New quarantine zones appeared, revealing the real price of touching the unknown. Meanwhile, the old world was becoming increasingly dependent on treasures from the new land. Ports, warehouses, factories, everything began to revolve around the flow of resources stamped Solara. In just a few years, long stable trade routes were erased and redrawn. At the frontier between sea and land, a new civilization was being built, container by container, panel by panel, beam by beam. The first districts on Solara felt like every culture on Earth merging, covered by the grey dust of a frontier. In cramped rooms, pioneers were exhausted, yet unable to look away from the news of the old world. Deeper inland, each journey became a gamble against weather, terrain, and things no map had time to record. Solara's landscapes were magnificent, yet carried a hint of something not entirely belonging to Earth. On high peaks, humans built observatories to listen to the heartbeat of the new continent. From there, Solara appeared not just as rock and soil, but as a complex web of energy and structure. New extraction and conversion technologies were born, built upon the very anomalies Solara introduced. In return, Solara became the greatest technological and economic fever in human history. International economic forums quickly shifted focus from Wall Street and Silicon Valley to Solara's windswept harbors. Financial markets cheered, but the green numbers never told the whole story. A brightly lit port city on Solara became the symbol of both the rise and the dependence of the new economy. In the shadows, secret deals began slicing Solara into spheres of influence. On the streets, another question echoed: are we rebuilding colonialism under a new name? From this tension, new political movements built around Solara emerged, full of passion and contradictions. The generation growing up on Solara did not see the world like their parents. To them, Solara was the center. Gradually, Solara became not only a place, but an idea, a belief. The first legends about the day the continent rose began to be retold like ancient folktales. On cold nights, people shared stories claiming Solara was a message Earth sent to humanity. Faced with environmental upheavals, international councils were forced to see Solara as a mirror reflecting the cost of the industrial age. To adapt to Solara, humanity had to change how it treated the old continents as well. On Solara, new reserves reminded people that they still had a chance to start right. But elsewhere on the same continent, colossal machines told the exact opposite story. Solara's future always hung between two poles: healing and destruction. When words failed, armies were sent to the edges of disputed Solara zones. Every peace agreement signed carved new cracks into the trust between nations. In Solara's night sky, city lights and surrounding darkness coexisted on a fragile horizon. There, a new generation grew up, carrying an identity that did not fully belong to any old nation. For children born on Solara, home was not just a continent, it was a new era. Everywhere, people started asking, did Solara appear as a warning, or as a second chance? Earth's story had been written by volcanoes, ice ages, and asteroid impacts. Now it gained a new chapter, a continent that arrived unannounced. From space, Solara was just another scar on the planet's blue skin. But for humanity, that scar split the world into two ages, before Solara and after Solara. In the eyes of billions, Solara came to embody both fear and hope. On the wind-beaten cliffs, one question always echoed: what will we do with this chance? Every wave crashing against Solara's rocks whispered that humanity's time to choose is not unlimited. From high above, Solara stood as a silent witness to every human decision. In the darkness of space, Earth, with Solara, looked small, yet it was the stage of a grand experiment, whether humanity can truly grow up. And perhaps, history will not remember every GDP figure or treaty, but only one thing: how we treated Solara and ourselves.